My dream is that Israel, as a light unto the nation, goes beyond peace. I'm so tired of the word peace. Peace is a lifeless word for me. Peace is a beginning, not an end. We have turned peace into a goal. You can live under a dictatorship and have peace. You can be miserable and have peace. You can have no freedom of speech and have peace. We need to go beyond peace. And that's been one of the biggest mistakes. We've taken peace and we've elevated it. It's what peace gives you. Peace gives me the freedom to be creative, the freedom to express myself, the freedom to love, the freedom to make mistakes. So we've forgotten the second part of peace. If they had changed the name of the peace process to an education process, things might have been different. Peace is a result, not a goal. Had they looked at peace as a subject with which to educate both people, the Arabs and the Jews, where you educate for peace, rather than try to ram it down people's throat, things might have been different. So I dream that we talk about things like freedom of speech, rather than just peace. Because it's not peace we want to bring to the Middle East. Freedom of speech will help bring peace to the Middle East. But we need to go beyond peace. And you know, for all the mistakes he made, George Bush was onto something when he talked about freedom. I think he was a little sloppy about it, and he wasn't careful. He just sort of threw it out there. And it's a big deal. But Israel can be two things. It could be the curse of the Middle East, or it could be the cure to the Middle East. It's almost a battle. It's like Kobe versus LeBron. There's like a race right now. Will Israel be the curse, or will Israel be the cure? The world, most of the world, is trying to position Israel as the curse to the Middle East. It doesn't matter that 99% of the yields in the Middle East have absolutely nothing to do with Israel and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. But they're still trying to make Israel the curse to the Middle East because it's the perfect scapegoat. Whenever you're in trouble in the Middle East, take on Israel. Guaranteed to work. But a new movement is slowly happening. It's the movement that says, uh-oh, those Jews, they got something going there. We're starting to cover it up, and we're seeing there's a lot more to Israel than the fact that they oppress the Palestinians. There's a lot more going on in Israel. And all the things that the demonstrators in Egypt were screaming for. What is it that they were screaming for? They were screaming for what Israel already gives. They wanted their dignity, they wanted their freedom, they wanted their opportunity. I've been with Arabs in Israel. I've seen them in colleges, seen them in universities, I've seen them get employed. The opportunities that they have in Israel are beyond anything they can get anywhere else in the Middle East, in Arab countries. All this other side of Israel that's been covered up by the occupation. All this other side needs to come out. And this is what I do. I try to bring out the side of Israel that hasn't come out. I try to complete the picture, rather than join the feeding frenzy. And say, well, I hate the occupation. You know, 1 million people are complaining about the occupation. I'm going to do the same thing. And you know, I will tell you strategically, by the way, even if you're just a businessman and you want to make a deal with somebody, the last thing you want when you make a deal and you have an exchange to make is for the person to think you've stolen his property. If the person thinks I've stolen his purse, he owes me nothing. He doesn't owe me to negotiate anything. All I owe him is to send him back the purse with punitive damages by FedEx. And what's happened with the narrative in the Middle East is Israel's desire to make peace and Israel's concessions vis-a-vis land has reinforced the narrative that this is stolen land. We have acted like thieves. We didn't want to act like thieves. 20 years ago, this was not stolen land. 20 years ago, it was disputed land. You study anything in history, you will see there's no evidence that this is stolen land. It's disputed land. But because we showed so much desire for peace, concessions for land, like we did in Gaza, like we offered at Camp David, and like Ehud Omer offered, you know, we reinforced the narrative that this is stolen land. And this is one of the reasons that this has killed the peace process. The biggest blunder that Obama made was to elevate the issue of settlements above everything else. Even if you think that settlement is the biggest problem, the last thing you want to do is elevate it, because it reinforces the narrative that this is stolen land. And if it's stolen land, there's no reason for a peace process. No reason. No reason to come to the table. But I will tell you that the obsession with settlements has covered up many things. It's covered up real obstacles to peace, like the rejectionism, and like the fact that, you know, the Hamas, half of the Palestinians are committed to our destruction. That's a real obstacle. The fact that we have already disengaged from settlements, we've shown our ability to disengage, makes it that it should never have been positioned as the mother of all obstacles. So a lot of mistakes have been made, strategic mistakes, and a lot of mistakes have been made, I think, within the Jewish community, because we all want peace so much. You know, one thing I learned in life, sometimes the more you want something, the less you get. Like, I don't know how to describe this psychology. The more you push for something, the less you get it. And I think this has been one of the tragedies of Israel. They really, really wanted peace. And the more they pushed for peace, the less they've been able to get it. And I think I have a hint here. Take 5, I will take 5. So just to wrap it up, because this is a great day, it's a birthday, where we, you know, Israel celebrates its birthday and its Memorial Day. It's not just a day off where they have barbecues and stuff like we do here. You've all been to Israel on Memorial Day. I mean, you've seen the sort of the collective spirit and the angst. There's nothing like being there. And you know, there's a way to love Israel with your feet, which is you go and you live there. And once you're there, that's it. That's the way you're communicating. With Israel, you live there. There's another way to love Israel is with your mind. And that's my friend Peter. And he looks at Israel in its little bubble and says, this is what Israel needs to do. There's another way to love Israel is only with the heart. And with the heart, a lot of my friends on the right, Israel can do no wrong. They love Israel like I love the Lakers, and rah, 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 and they'll just like support it to no end. It's all heart, no mind. And then finally, I think the way I feel I love to love Israel is with the soul. And when you love Israel with the soul, it's a combination of the mind and the heart, and there's a soulfulness. If I'm going to criticize Israel, if any of you are ever going to criticize Israel, do it with soulfulness. Do it with love. Do it grudgingly. I ask all my friends who criticize Israel, don't do it with so much joy. Do it like it's hurting you. Do it grudgingly. Do it with love. Do it with context. Don't just beat them up like those 10 other people that were beating up that kid on the ground. We all love Israel. And sometimes, you know, when you live far, it's like out of sight, out of mind. Have you noticed you don't see somebody in years and years? It's not the same thing. Because you start to idealize. And if you're on the wrong track, and if you're really critical of Israel, and you don't spend a lot of time living in Israel, you know, this sort of, you know, you wake up one morning, and you're going to have real animosity. I have friends of mine who've been criticizing Israel for so long. They woke up one morning, and they're like, I hate this country. But you become your actions. There's a theory in philosophy that says actions determine your personality. So the more you do something, you become your actions. I want to make sure I never get to that point where I get so critical, I get so down on Israel, that I'm going to wake up one morning and say, wow, I'm really down on this country. And we have to be careful, because Israel is under such relentless criticism that we can easily start to feel ashamed of Israel. There was an article by my friend Gary Rosenberg, a great supporter of Israel, and the headline was, American Jews, Israel is a source of shame for American Jews. He was reporting on a conference. Yeah. How did it get this far? How did it get this bad? So I'm here to sort of try to keep the context going, to kind of keep things in context, and to keep reminding us that no matter how sour and bitter and angry and upset and dismayed and disappointed we might get at Israel, it's still a miracle. It might be a mess, but it's a mess in progress. And it's still one of the great success stories of the 20th century. Happy birthday, Israel.